Alright, what is going on, everybody? We are back with another video. Today we are going to be replacing the shutoff switch on this residential model Edger. This will be like an FS56, FC56, KM56, pretty much anyone that looks like this. Basically take off all the bottom screws and then slide the drive tube off to where you have the engine unit by itself. And then I've already worked on this. I had to order parts just to make sure that, you know, I would take it all the way apart for you guys. And there's a screw up on top by that spark plug, and then the rest are on the bottom. So this is how you split the case in half. And then I'm going to be replacing this shutoff switch, so it wouldn't shut off. The machine would not shut off. And so this is what you have to do to fix it. It's kind of a pain, honestly, but you know, it's an easy DIY project. So right here I'm going to struggle opening the bag, and then we're going to swap out that switch. So I always make sure that you put the terminals correct. I think you can, it doesn't matter which terminal goes on what, but me, I like to put things back together how they were taken apart. So it's got a couple tabs on each side. Just make sure you can stick a screwdriver in there and squeeze those tabs in. This is actually, I think, the second time I've actually ever replaced one of these, maybe third, but it's very, very, very rare. Usually if the customer is, you know, if it's an older machine, or maybe they sweat a lot, you know, water gets in there, maybe it's left outside, you know, numerous amount of things, but they can go bad, and when they do, you gotta replace them. So the switch here is it's a very basic switch. It's always on, so you pull it, you start it, it's always on. All you do is just shut off. It's a button to shut it off, and that's it. Make sure y'all like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So now we're going to pull off these terminals here, and as I pull one off, I'm putting it back onto the new one, as you'll see here in a second. So there's one, boom, I'm going to slide it on, and then the other one, like so. And then make sure the circle is to the front, and then it just snaps right back into place. And then you're going to just route these wires. So my videos, I can trim them to be shorter, but I want y'all to see, because some people will be like, where does this wire go? How is it routed? Things like that. So I like to leave the videos kind of long for like this one here, but this could be literally a 2-minute video because it's basically done. And the rest of the video is me routing the wire back into the little crevasse of what it came out of. So yeah, you'll see me do that now. So get a little screwdriver and just shove the wires and back into their little valley that leads all the way back towards the coil. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you know if you've already replaced the switch and you want to put it back together, no need to watch any further. But maybe you're watching my video, it's a little tutorial on how it goes back together. This is how you do it. So it's very, very straightforward, pretty easy to do. It's just a little time consuming, one of those jobs. And so yeah, we're going to just work this thing in there and work its way all the way back. So I'm trying, the wires are crossed, and like, you don't want the wires to be crossed at all, because then it won't sit back into its little crevasse there. So make sure that you have the wires nice and straight. I'm getting a little better angle here with the camera to where you can really see inside there, and so you know how to do this. So you still want the wires to get caught on anything, plus when you slide that drive tube in there, it could cut the wire, you know, or pinch the wire. I've seen customers actually try to do this themselves, and then the machine will not start because they end up breaking the wire, and I've had to replace the harnesses before because of that. The customer put it back together incorrectly. So do it once, do it right, and that's just, you know, a good model to go by. But again, this works on almost all the residential models that look exactly like this. So they've been making this same type of machine for quite some time now. Doesn't matter if you have an older one or a newer one, they're pretty much all the exact same, as long as your switch is the circle style like mine. So there you go. You can like pause the video if you want at certain parts to see how I have the wires routed, but they are routed exactly how factory had them. So you can see, nice and uniform. And yeah, so now we're going to slide the cover back over, and you want to work this spark plug boot through the hole first, and then slide over the spark plug, and then it'll slide down into place. Sometimes the boot, sometimes it's easier to take the spark plug out, but me, I was just being a little lazy here, so I just left the spark plug in, and it's getting caught on the boot here on the back side. But once I get that wire out of the way from the spark plug, it'll slide right back home into place there. So excuse me. So yeah, there you go, boom. It's already seated all the way. Trigger works, rockers in place, and I'm gonna unbag all the rest of the parts and put it back together here. So when you put it back together, I'll usually put there's no really specific order, but you have to be careful with a couple of screws, but I always put the top one in first, and that goes into the actual engine. So it's nice and secured there, and then I will go and put it into or flip it over and put all the ones into the bottom here, almost all of them. So I'll just put these outside ones because we just clamp the housing to the housing. Same one with the outside here, housing to the housing. They're all the same screws, so you can't mix these up. The only one that's different is the one on top. These are more coarse threaded. The one that goes on the top there is fine threaded because it's a machine screw. These two screws on the outside, notice I'm not putting the center one in because when you slide the tube in, it's going to bite the tube, so you got to make sure you slide the tube in first. You can't see it off camera, but someone is talking to me right now, and as usual, you can't see I got it off camera here, but sorry about that. But the two in the front of the handle, I just put those in loosely, and now you're going to slide the drive tube inside of the housing, and it should slide all the way in, and you can see it seated all the way in. So you can see the rub marks at the front. It's almost to that loop handle, and then I'm just going to tighten those down just a little bit, and then I'm going to put this center one in here. This center one has to go into a small hole. You see how the housing split apart? That means it didn't drop into that little hole, so keep that in mind. I kind of rotate the engine, and there it is. It fell into that hole into the drive tube, so that one is the very important screw there. And then I know it's in that hole, and then you can just tighten down the housing, and then it is clamped onto the drive tube. So now you're good to go on that, and there's no issues there. Make sure you tighten all your screws. Boom, boom, boom. All the screws are tight, and that's it. So make sure when you take that engine off that it goes all the way onto the drive tube. You don't want it to be hanging off in you. And yeah, so we're gonna throw the air filter cover back on. A little tricky. And don't strip this screw because it can strip pretty easily. That's pretty much it. You know, now I'm gonna fire this bad boy up, but that's all she wrote for this job here. Thank you guys for watching. Please like the video. Subscribe if you want to see more content. And we'll catch you guys next time.